Today, I'm going to give you guys a brief summary of the story of Jonah, a man who ran away from God, but was still used by him. You see, in the beginning of the book of Jonah, God gave Jonah clear instructions. He told him to go to Nineveh to speak to them and to warn them. But instead, Jonah decided to run away from the presence of the Lord. Not out of fear, but he ran out of anger. You see, Nineveh, just to give you guys some context, was a city filled with evil and wickedness. So just imagine a place where all the people there just did any and everything that they could do wrong, if that makes sense. So Jonah didn't want them to be saved, but he knew that God was merciful, and that made him bitter. So instead of buying a ticket on a ship to where God was telling him to go, he bought a ticket that sent him in the opposite direction. Away from his assignment, away from the people, but not away from God. As they're sitting on this boat, all of a sudden, a storm comes in, and then the sea raged, not out of punishment, but to get Jonah's attention. And even in all that chaos, God was still reaching for him. Eventually, Jonah comes clean about what he did. He instructs the crew to throw him overboard so that the sea can become calm again. So the crew does what Jonah instructs them, throws him overboard, and he's swallowed by a great fish. So he spends 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of this great fish. Not just in the belly, but also in the depths of himself. And that's where God was able to meet him, not in his perfection, but in his rebellion. Jonah prayed, he cried out, and eventually the fish released him on the dry land. So then Jonah was able to accept his call and accept what God was telling him to do. And out of obedience, he went to Nineveh and he preached and warned them about what was to come. Eventually, the people of Nineveh repented. God forgave them, but this is what Jonah was afraid of. You see, he didn't want them to be forgiven. So at this point, Jonah was angry, but God teaches him a very important lesson. So I'm going to give you guys a quote from the Bible. You care more about your comfort than their souls, but I care about them. I care about you. I care about all of it. This is God speaking to Jonah. So sometimes we may run. Sometimes we may not agree with what God is asking us, but his grace runs deeper than our existence. You see, his love, even for the ones we don't think deserve it, it never fails. You see, God doesn't just call the willing, he also calls the broken, the bitter, and the ones who are running away. But he still says, come, I can still use you.